So let's talk anxiety.
My name is Sky Weiberg. I am from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. I started out with anxiety at a young age. I just started noticing things about myself. I compared myself to other kids. As school got harder and there was a lot more to do and more expected of you, I started to realize I have a bad case of it.
My name's Zach Hubbard. I enjoy making videos, I enjoy playing music, and whenever I can, I do both at the same time. I first found out I had anxiety when it came to standing up for myself. I would always let people push me around. I didn't think that my opinions mattered, so I should just keep it shut. It's always been a tightness in my chest where it felt like nervousness at first, but it got to the point where I physically couldn't go any farther.
When you have anxiety, even if you're around the nicest people, you think that they're spending most of their time criticizing you. I got a lot of stomach aches. Your heart is racing all the time. Sometimes you can get, I think it's called a sensory overload, where it's just your anxiety and just common things like somebody talking, it just sounds like an explosion in your ears and stuff, like anything. It's a weird thing.
How do you feel about being on camera talking about anxiety in your life? It's a good opportunity to encourage others because I know that anxiety is a hard thing to talk about, especially on camera.
Being able to show a perspective that maybe one of you guys will be able to relate to.
I feel nervous.
I started to realize that there were a lot of other people going through the same things that I have felt and experienced. There were people that were afraid to go up in class and actually talk because of what I thought was stage fright. But once I had that educational experience in my life with counselors and different teachers talking about it, I started to realize that there may have been a bit more than just fear. Maybe there was something going on neurologically, and it just can't be helped.
The thing about anxiety is it follows you wherever you go because it is a part of you. It doesn't define you, but it is a part of you. I think for a little while I was in denial that I had it. I thought that it was just, okay, struggle with depression and I'm shy. I've always had horrible anxiety about driving, walking on the street, being seen by people, just stuff that normal people should be able to handle and do regularly. It's just so difficult, and it makes you think less of yourself, like you're stupid or you're below other people. It's not fun. It's not a fun way to go about living.
It's always worrying about how others see you, and if an action that you take is going to affect your reputation forever. And it can impact your life so much. If you're afraid to go to a doctor or a teacher and ask for help, that can be detrimental to yourself. It can be detrimental to others around you. Yeah, it has serious implications.
When I was stressed out on things like tests and stuff, if I didn't study at all or I just didn't know the answers, I'd just be like, okay, time to draw something depressing, something how I feel right now. And so I'd draw like something like somebody poking their eyeball out. As gory as that sounds, it's just, you're putting it in a creative outlet. I put all of my energy into drawing. All of my paper would just be covered in doodles. My hand would be all gray and like shiny from all the graphite. My grandma wanted to make a children's book, and she wanted me to illustrate it. Something about owls, their expression already kind of looks anxious in its own. Like, they're all little owls going into kindergarten, and they're really anxious because they think they're the only ones that are going to be anxious and scared of it. They don't realize how common it is to be afraid of things. I don't know, it was just something that I could relate to. It was something that I liked drawing. It helped me realize that anxiety isn't who you are.
What are the different ways you cope with anxiety in your own life? I try to do as many creative things as I can. I like to sew, I like to paint, I like to draw.
Using creative outlets like that is something that a lot of people do to cope with anxiety. Going up for walks is huge, getting a breath of fresh air, being distracted by the world around you. I've noticed even showers help sometimes.
Even just writing things down, you tend to pile things on instead of thinking of the individual parts of what's making you anxious. And it just seems like a mountain of stuff. But when you can put it into a list of little things and you can cross that out, it's so much easier to handle.
I also find it very comforting to talk to people that I love and make sure that they know whenever I'm having a bad day, because some days are worse than others.
When you're in that position where someone comes to you and talks to you to help cope, you want to give them some space. You have to be there to listen, be there to give advice once in a while, but only when it's asked for. It's not your role to always be there. You're there when they need it.
You don't necessarily have to be a therapist and say well, try this, have you tried this yet? Just be there for them and be willing to listen.
Whatever you're going through, whatever you feel that isolates you from the rest of the world, you are not alone by any stretch of the imagination. So let's talk anxiety.